So welcome to Simple Flying's first Future Flying Forum of 2023. Happy New Year to everyone. And with me today, we've got a Simple Flying favourite, Mr. Martin Gauss, CEO of airBaltic, who's got some really interesting stuff going on at the moment. Martin, welcome to the webinar.
Welcome, and also Happy New Year to you.
Thank you so much. So before we get into what I know you really want to talk about today, let's have a little chat through how 2022 went for you, because there was some really interesting stuff going on at airBaltic. Early in the year, you launched a new base in Finland. I know we spoke about that briefly before, so we won't dwell on it too much, but just give us an overview of how that's been performing for you. Was it a good move?
It was a very good move because we saw a very strong summer. We are now in our first winter at that base, which is very different, of course, because as everything in Northern Europe, it's very seasonal. But it started very well. So we are now looking forward to the second season in Tampere, and we're changing the offer there slightly, learning from last year. But it's a good base, and it was a very good start of having our first base outside the Baltics.
Excellent news. I'm glad to see it. And, you know, you're well known as being the airline that perhaps loves the A220 more than anybody else in the world, maybe just short of Simple Flying, because we're big fans as well. But this year you celebrated your 6th year of the A220. Just tell us a little bit about your focus for this airplane going forward. Are there still more to come for the fleet?
Yeah, we have taken delivery of the 39th aircraft at the last day of last year. And we have another one coming now in April, and then another 8 this year, to have 48 by the end of the year, and then another 2 from our first firm order in 2024. We still have 30 options which have not been exercised. The aircraft is here now 6 years. It's the backbone. It's the only aircraft we are having in operation. And what it has delivered last year, and that you now can see, is the cost reduction by flying a single fleet type. So that has arrived, because last year was the first year where in the second half we saw normal behavior as an airline, and then you can compare to the times before. So costs are going down of using a single fleet. And of course, because it's a very fuel efficient aircraft, we, yes, had high fuel prices like everybody else, but the fuel consumption of the aircraft, and with that also the emissions, are lower, and they're even lower than expected. We still have these teething issues of the engine, which is also all over the news. But that is something caused by the supply chain issues that is not only causing our engines, that's all over the world. And we're dealing with it. And we will see this also this year, putting a little bit of a shadow on the A220. But the A220 itself is delivering, including the engine, what it was built for. And we use it very extensive, up to 7 hours on the longest routes. And we will be building also our future on the A220.
Excellent. So these issues with the engines, they're not causing problems with your scheduling, or from what I understand, it's in-flight shutdowns that we're experiencing. Is this a lack of spare parts, or what's going on with that?
So we're not shutting down the engines. The engines come at different intervals, mainly because of lifetime limited parts in the engines of different things. They come off the wing, and then they get shipped to an MRO where is specialized for like changing these parts and bringing the engine back. And what has happened, normally that would take, let's say, an average of 90 days to have the engine from the wing, ship it. And for that, you have a spare engine, and that spare engine is then coming onto the wing before you then get the engine back. And that process now, instead of 90 days, takes 8 months.
Wow.
And if you now take more and more engines off the wing, and you're not having sufficient spare engines because there are just no engines there, then over time your aircraft is on the ground without usable engines. And that is, of course, causing disruptions. And these disruptions are offset by taking in wet leased aircraft from others. And that, of course, makes the passengers unhappy who fly on the most modern aircraft, especially our customers. And then they suddenly come on an aircraft which is not ours. That was last summer an issue, not in the winter now, because we have the seasonal a reduction of the program. But we will also have to have that situation this summer, as we are growing significant compared to last year, and the engine situation hasn't really changed. So the forecast is that we come back to a normal supply chain on the engine only in 2024. So the A220 is delivering, the engine is good, but the engine, when it comes off the wing and gets the lifetime limited parts get changed, or the engine gets upgraded, it just takes too long until it returns.
Understood. And you guys have been doing some maintenance on the A220 for other airlines as well. I know you completed an A check for Air Austral. I don't think that was that long ago. How important is the maintenance side that you can do yourself in-house?
I mean, it's part of our business model going forward. As we were the first operator of the A220-300, it was logic, and with the big order we had, that we would get the expertise to also do our own heavy maintenance on that aircraft. And normally it takes 3 years before you go in the first C check on the aircraft, which we already had for several aircraft. So we did that on our own aircraft, and we said we would also have capacity to do heavy maintenance for others. It happened now. And going forward, we're building a pretty large maintenance hangar here, which is then in the future enabling us not only do it for our fleet, but also for others. So it's part of our business plan going forward. And we have already now, with 6 years flying, more than 6 years flying the A220, also on the maintenance side, a lot of expertise and experience, which of course is seen in the industry. And that's why we get the trust also to do it for others.
That's excellent. So going back to the wet leasing, can you give us some idea of how many planes you had to wet lease last year, and what your forecast for wet leasing in next summer is going to be?
We had 5 in the peak, 6 aircraft in the peak summer flying for us from other airlines, and it was a mix of different airlines. We expect that this year the number could be the same, maybe even too higher. Final numbers depend on the engine delivery schedule, as we get also a lot of aircraft in this year. So the final number has not been defined yet, but it could be a similar number, maybe 2 aircraft more for the peak summer. Yeah, so we are currently contracting partners to bring in, because airBaltic is growing this year more than 30%, 35%. That's the current forecast.
Wow.
And that means we will have to fly our network. And as we can't do it with our own aircraft, as they are on the ground, some of them, we will have to bring in wet lease aircraft from other airlines.
Understood. But I want to just touch on a very important milestone for you guys that happened in September. 50 million passengers flown. I mean, that's a lot of people, right? Did you expect to reach that number by this point?
Business plan wise, we were expecting that number, yes, because we just had with COVID and also the war, of course, our industry had a big impact. So it came a bit later than it was originally planned. But yeah, it's a very nice event. I mean, we are 27 years old airline now. We're a smaller airline, but where we operate at the Baltic states, we are the largest airline. And so it's always the perspective. Yeah? These numbers, 50 million passenger, it's a big number, which we achieved over the years. But if we look at some of our competitors, they smile about these big numbers. For us, as a small organization, as coming from where we come, it's a very big number, and we're very proud of it. We only have 1.8 million people in the country, so our country size is only 1.8 million people. So we are very proud to have transported as a Latvian carrier 50 million passengers, and I think also the country is very proud of reaching such a number.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, big congratulations to you. And you're starting to reach new places as well. I mean, we've talked before about your very long A220 flight over to the Middle East. Now you're going into Africa. You launched Marrakesh towards the end of last year. Can we expect more African destinations from you as we go into 2023?
In 23, it's not yet announced if there would be more, because we have announced 18 new destinations for this summer from our 4 bases. There's no other Northern African destination. I'm not excluding it, because network planning might come up with another one, but it's nothing yet which is in the pipeline. The ones we have announced are there, and there might normally in the summer, there might be a couple of new destinations coming. The reach of the aircraft is not the issue, especially Marrakesh is by far not the furthest we can go. And so there are some opportunities, but they have to make commercial sense. We're happy with Marrakesh now, especially in the winter, in parallel to the Canary Islands and Dubai as the longer routes. But yes, there's some, if we look further to the east, there's some Northern African countries where there's touristic destinations which we could maybe serve, but nothing decided yet.
Awesome. Hoping for Sharm el Sheikh next winter. It's one of my favorites, so we'll have to wait and see on that.
I have to say that Sharm el Sheikh is already there, but as a charter flight. So we are serving Egypt already for many years, but that is a charter flight, which means we operate it on behalf of a tour operator.
Got it. Well, maybe it'll enter the schedules. We never know. And just, one of the things that really kind of defined 2020 for aviation was the trouble getting staff back and getting people back and managing to operate, the airport smoothly and have enough baggage handlers. I know you guys took on around 1,000 new employees over the course of 2022. That's a huge number. Did you manage to avoid all these disruptions over the summer months?
Yeah, we were able to avoid it here locally. So Riga Airport functioned very well from all of these points. We also had no issues on staff side. We nearly doubled our workforce from the time from COVID end to the end of this year with adding. So we have 2,200 people now. So adding 1,000 last year was a big thing. We continue this year. We will be targeting more than 2,500 by the end of the year, total employees.
Wow.
We were disrupted, and we of course were a victim of all the shortages our industry has seen as we serve all over Europe and beyond. And we have been in the same difficulties just at our home airport. We were lucky because here we did not have the issues. But once we left our home airport, we were running into the same problems other carriers have had. And I think the forecast on the delay situation also for this year is not too good, because Eurocontrol and the larger airports are saying that for the summer there might be also delay situations. We try to be prepared, but then of course you are in the hands of others, which is very difficult then to recover from a delay you get somewhere when you come back home. But we managed last year. We tried to do better this year despite the outside circumstances.
Excellent. That's really good to hear. And I know it's been a challenging time. Maybe it's not over yet, like you say. Maybe next summer we'll continue to see some disruption, but hopefully it will begin to improve at least. So I want to get on to the thing that I know you really want to talk about today, and that's your big announcement this week that you are going to be, if I'm not wrong, the first airline to commit to Starlink. For those who maybe don't know what it is, you may have heard of Starlink. It's a low Earth orbit satellite constellation famously launched by Elon Musk as part of his SpaceX project. And it's going to be providing Wi-Fi to your A220s from 2024. Tell me a bit about this decision and why you chose Starlink over some of the more, tried and tested solutions out there.
We wanted to have internet connectivity already when our first aircraft arrived in 2016. You can buy that from the factory. It's an installed system, a typical one which today you have on many aircraft. But the business case for us never worked with these systems because it's based on a cost for data and a cost for installing it. And to get the money back, you will have to ask passengers to somehow sign in and log in, buy a pass, different passes. We all know this. And none of these business cases that we tried all these years worked. So we were then looking at what alternatives are there for the future. And we identified Starlink or SpaceX Starlink system as something which would perfectly fit to airBaltic. It's new, it's much faster, and we have that spirit. We are a small company. So we turned to SpaceX and said, we would like to do that, and we would like to do this together with you. So we entered into the discussion about it, and we found out, yes, we have a certain expertise on bringing it onto a new aircraft because we're the largest operator on the Airbus A220. We partnered, and we have a contract now, and we will be getting the permission. So we will work together to get the permission to use the system. It's working already, but we need the permission to do it on an A220. And then we will, installation is very, very fast, will be done in-house, so it's not complicated. And then you walk on the aircraft and you will have, all you do, and that is really as simple, you walk on the aircraft and then you have, you select the Wi-Fi, no password, and you have at all times high-speed internet access. You can do your Netflix, you can do all your social media stuff undisrupted. I've tested it. I've been on an aircraft flying with it. I was very impressed. It really works, and yeah, we will be the first in Europe. There's already an airline in the US flying with it. Hawaiian Airlines will be flying it, but in Europe we are the first airline, and we're very excited. I have to say that the team, SpaceX, the spirit there, Starlink, that is what we really like, because we have that spirit, that innovative spirit, and we just found a company which has that times 10. So it's amazing how these people there, the energy level they have and how they come up with innovations all the time. It's the perfect fit for us, and we really like this cooperation. Because at the end of the day, our passengers will have something very unique and something the world really needs, which is a high-speed internet while you're on board of an aircraft. So it's something I'm really looking forward to have for our passengers.
I'm excited for you as well. I mean, it sounds brilliant. What sort of download speeds are you anticipating? And do you know of any sort of dead spots in the coverage, or do you think your entire network will be able to offer the Wi-Fi?
So the satellite itself, of course, is there, and it can access all the air. There's 3,500 satellites already in the sky, and then every week new ones are going up with their own rockets. So they have the ability to send new satellites basically on a weekly base. There's a regulation that you need to have a permission to receive satellite signals when you're in certain territories. So there will be territories in the world where you just are not allowed to receive it, while the aircraft technically maybe could. So that, of course, have to be observed. Otherwise, on board the aircraft, there is a download speed of up to 350 megabits per second. To give an idea, so if everybody on board would want to watch Netflix at the same time, if you have around 1 megabit per second, you can still watch Netflix. So we have only 150 seats. So if we would go for a maximum download speed, would have that, and then every passenger could still easily watch Netflix. Gaming is possible. So we will not have the issue about the speed. We will now just have the work ahead of us together with SpaceX Starlink to get the permission, the regulatory permission to install the system, the testing and all of that. But we've seen the antenna, we know how it's to be mounted. It's not difficult. We just now need to get through the regulatory process.
Understood. Let's hope that's not too arduous. But your plan is to operate this, to offer this to your customers for free. Is that right?
Yeah, that is the beauty of it. There is no way that we will be collecting any data, because you get on board the aircraft, it is there, and all you select is that Wi-Fi. It's like there is no password, there is no registration possible. So it's the opposite of what you know today, that if you go somewhere and they ask you for the password, or then they ask you for a login, like in a hotel, this is not the case. You get on board the aircraft and it is there, you connect, you click on the Wi-Fi, and then you have it. There's no other step possible. That is the beauty of the system. So it will be the future use of internet, I hope, because it should be free. It should be free, high speed, wherever possible. You might have the situation that you're in an airport and you had to log in into the system and give your data and all of that, but then you come on board of our aircraft and then it's for free and faster, which is a very nice thought, which we will have soon. And looking forward to the customer feedback here, because it is something very impressive.
That sounds brilliant. And it's interesting that you're going for that completely, you're not looking at this as an additional revenue stream. This is just passenger experience, customer satisfaction. That's what it's all about. Delta announced free Wi-Fi just a week or so ago. They're going with the Viasat option, but that's all tied into their loyalty program. They need people to be a SkyMiles member, and you need to be signed into your SkyMiles account to access the thing. And how come you didn't decide to make this an ancillary revenue stream? Why is it so important that you just give it away like this?
We want, I think we are a unique airline with a unique experience. If we look at the aircraft and if we look at how we are a hybrid carrier, we do a lot of things different. We were the first ones accepting Bitcoin many years ago. We have an NFT as part of our frequent flyer program, and there's more to come. That was a logical step now, because we always look of what is the need in the future. And what is really needed is the high-speed internet access without the complication. The business case behind it, there's a cost, of course, to us, but the business case behind it is purely based on the pickup of demand by passengers to choose that airline again because of the experience. We have that already because of the A220. The aircraft today is one of the reasons why we are chosen by passengers over other carriers, because of the quality of transportation. That quality goes up now by offering something everybody needs. We have done very sophisticated research for ourselves amongst our travelers to get good samples, and it's very impressive if we look at the numbers, at the direct feedback, which age groups, which countries, where are they from. So we have that all based on data which we collected, and came to the conclusion we want to do it exactly the way Starlink offers it, and we do not want to go through that step of commercializing it, because the commercialization of it comes with the better flight experience.
Absolutely. I love the way you're looking at this. It's like completely the opposite to what we see from most value carriers, if you like to say. I know you guys don't brand yourself as a completely low-cost carrier, but you are good value for money. Most of the others are kind of trying to race to the bottom, but you're trying to kick it up a notch, and that's fantastic. Do you think eventually the whole industry will move to fast and free Wi-Fi for every passenger? I mean, it kind of seems insane these days when we're so heavily connected on the ground that the second we step on a plane, we can't talk to anyone, we can't communicate unless we want to pay extortionate amounts to connect to their satellite Wi-Fi system.
I think, yes, I think it will be eventually free, because the world needs it, and we all depend on the internet for communication today. Yeah, I think it will be eventually, but we will go through a longer phase, because the systems established today do not deliver the speed, and they cannot. So new systems will have to come. Starlink is the one now with the highest speed, but there will be new technology coming also in the future. And in that process of all that new technology coming in, if more and more airlines will offer it for free, it will come. Since we announced, there were so many airlines turning to us saying, how did you do this? And all. So we get already all these questions now, we as an airline, which for sure Starlink gets multiple times. And therefore, I do believe long term, yes, but there will be these intermediate steps. Like I saw the Delta announcement, very smart move to do it and then get your frequent flyer base up. We again, we went one step further to say, we don't want anything from you. We just want you to have that experience. That's part of what you are buying when you buy an airBaltic ticket.
Fantastic. I can't wait to try it out, and I hope it performs as well as you think it will. I believe you're going to be a benchmark for other airlines now to look at and ask all these questions. So please do keep us posted on how it performs. Is it 2024 that it's coming live on your systems?
We target 23, but we cannot give an exact date. And the reason, again, is purely regulatory. The antennas are already existing. There's no difference in the antenna which you would use if you buy yourself a Starlink kit at home. Is just a bit bigger and has to be mounted different. But it's not about the system not being available. The satellites are there. The system is functioning. It's functioning on aircraft already. But okay, we need to get permission for the A220-300, which we will be doing together with Airbus and SpaceX.
Fantastic. I hope that process goes really smoothly for you and that we can see this rolled out as soon as possible. So just to wrap up our conversation today, you've been very kind to talk to us and to tell us all about the exciting Starlink edition. What are your other focuses going into 2023? What's the goal for airBaltic this year?
Return back to, so we had our second best year in history. If we look at the revenue from last year, We are not announcing yet because the year is not closed, but we know already it's the second best year in our history from the revenue point of view, but not from our profitability. So this year we will be growing significant against last year. So will be a new record year in every aspect, and we want to turn back to net profit. So we already had a strong positive EBITDA, and the focus this year is on the preparation. This is the year before the year of the IPO. So at the end of this year, towards the end of the year, we want to do the tender for the advisors. And then in 2024, finally do what we wanted already to do, bring the airline to the stock exchange, which is a big thing because it has last been done by Wizz Air in 2015. And no airline in Europe has gone to the stock exchange. And that is the big task. For that, we need to follow our business plan, follow the growth path, and after COVID and the war now return to profitability and higher revenues in 2023. So that's the focus. And of course, on the side of it, we want to continue giving that positive passenger experience with the A220s, because that is the backbone of the story of airBaltic, transporting the passengers on that single fleet type. And it's a very, I mean, who has flown on that aircraft knows it. It's a very pleasant aircraft to be on as a passenger.
I took my first A220 flight towards the end of last year. I know it's terrible that I haven't been on one yet, but with COVID and everything, it's been difficult. It was with Swiss, I'm afraid, not airBaltic. But I have to say, it was fantastic. It was very quiet, took off like a rocket, and the seats are wider and the leg room's greater. It was just the aircraft that I really remember and want to fly on again, you know, compared to your other narrow bodies. I absolutely love it as much as you do.
Yeah, no, we are definitely lovers of the aircraft, and I think the whole world knows because the last years we were talking about nothing else. Yeah, it worked for us. It's the success story of airBaltic, small airline from Latvia, making a big success in the globe with an aircraft. And why not? Yeah, there's nothing wrong doing this because the passengers and many millions have experienced it, give that feedback. So we're talking about it.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to see you guys branching out, doing something different, doing something crazy. You know, like you say, you did the crypto, you've done the NFTs. It's like you're thought leaders in the industry, despite your small size. So all the best for 2023. I hope it's good. And I can't wait to see that Starlink rolled out on your fleet.
Yeah, we're also looking forward. Thanks for the interview. And of course, we are also a big fan of Simply Flying. So also, great year to you, and I'm sure that we will stay in touch and we will be talking about all the things to come. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Martin, for joining us today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.
In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.